over 30 years in the business, plus more. She opened up her new law firm here in Atlanta called the Hatchett Firm. You've seen her on TV, an advocate for family and children and the youth. You all, GSU, please welcome Miss Judge Glenda Hatchett. How are you?
What a lovely introduction. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I would give a longer one, but see, we're on a time frame. I know you have to speak today, but I'm just so happy you're here.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so can I just say first off, I love you. I love you because you know why? I grew up watching you. I know you've heard that so many times, but I literally grew up watching you. I mean, what was it like for you to, where did that passion come from for you to mentor youth? Because I feel like you're part of more families than I think you really realize. Because I feel like you're the person in my life to where I'm like, I watch you because I didn't want to snap back at my mother. If I knew I had snapped back at my mother, it was a consequence, and I could just envision your face. Like, what was it like? Where did that passion come from for you mentoring youth?
I think my parents. My mother was an elementary school teacher over at Bethune-Cookman on Northside Drive at a time when that was a very, very, very poor neighborhood. Not like it is now. I mean, it was really poor. And my parents, and my dad was chair of the local YMCA board, and they volunteered everywhere. And so we grew up in my house learning to give back, and that it wasn't enough for us to be okay. And so I really think that that's where it came from. I mean, even long before I became a juvenile court judge, I had a passion for children and their families and their well-being, and I think I got a lot of that from my parents, who were just extraordinary.
No, I've heard in an interview before with Debbie Allen. She says she teaches her children the same way that her parents taught her. Now, is that the same way that you kind of get the parenting from?
Oh yeah, it's definitely. Listen, growing up, I thought my parents were just overly strict and ridiculously strict, and But I really appreciate it now, because they set very high standards, and you see that in my courtroom. Because it's a blend between being a judge and being a mama on that bench. Like, boy, I'm going to come down here and get you, and then, boy, I'm going to come off this bench, and then I'm going to hug you, because I believe in you. I expect greatness.
But they never came at you, and that's the funny thing. Like, how do you come at the parents, even being African American, how do you come at your parents, but they can't come at you like that?
I know, they know better. They know better. One girl did try me one day. I don't know if you saw that one, and I said, "You better be glad I'm not your mama." Mm-hmm. And she said, "But you ate my mama." And I stood up. Oh, mm-hmm. I said, "That's why you're in trouble now, because you got this smart ass mouth." And but I didn't hold up because I expected greatness. And I have kids that stop me now on the street who are grown people who were in my courtroom in Atlanta, Georgia. "Judges, for you, I got my life together." Or people will write and say, "I was on your show," and blah, 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 blah. Or people will say, "Judge, I was watching the show at home, and I felt like you were talking to me, and I felt like I needed to get my life together." And that feels good, because I wanted to use the power of television for good. I don't want you in my courtroom making a fool of you. We've seen that with other judges, that are demeaning and joke and, make them the butt of the joke. No, I want you to come in here and leave in better shape you came in. Now, that didn't always happen, but that's my goal. I want you to be better. I want to empower you, not because I just ordered it, but I want you to believe that you can be in a better space. And that's what I loved about it.
Now, is that why you took on the Philando Castillo case? Because you said you came to them not as a judge, but as a mother.
I did.
Like, what else motivated you to take on that case?
Because I have a son. I have two sons about Phil's age. And the truth is, I was tired of being at home cursing at the TV. And I felt like I needed to try to make a difference. And I think that I can leverage the fact that millions and millions of people see me on television for the last 16 years. I've worked hard to gain their trust. And if I can leverage that credibility to bring the attention that we need to this issue, then I can't be quiet. Even though my daughter tragically died in April, I didn't know if I could take this on. And actually, it was my son's wife, but she was my daughter. And my son said, "No, Mom, you have to take this on. And my other son said, yes, you have to take this on. And I believe that Kira is, you know, in her own way from heaven is supporting me in this, because I just didn't know with all that was going on in our family whether I could do it. But I have to do it. I have to do it. And we have to be victorious in this case, because we can't continue to do what we're doing in this nation the way we're doing it. We just can't.
Now, is it still, I'll see you in court, or what is the status of that situation?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to see him in court, honey. We're going to see him in court. I have not filed the case yet. I have not filed the civil case because, you know, I'm not responsible for the criminal proceedings. But I am very pleased to share with you that the officer has been charged. First time in the history of Minnesota a police has ever been charged in a fatal shooting of a citizen. Ever, 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 ever. And I'm also pleased to report that this is a rare occasion when the feds and the local prosecutors are jointly prosecuting. And so I'm going to wait for a little bit longer, I'm not sure how long, before I file the civil case. I won't say that we won't ever settle, but I also want them to be very clear that I'm not afraid to go to court on this case.
I believe you're not. I already believe it.
I'm not afraid to go to court. I'm not afraid to go to court on this.
Now, speaking of racially profiled cases,
Yes.
in your opinion, do you think racism, I don't know if it was happened before me or, you know, pre-Obama, do you think racism is getting worse, or it got worse, or it's just getting filmed?
Well, in terms of police shootings, I think that we are seeing them now because of the technology. We saw her live stream. Diamond Reynolds was very smart to do that because they confiscated her phone.
Of course.
But the fact is she had live streamed it, so it was already out.
But does that app work? The Fox 5 News, Fox, one of the stations have a link that you can send them in now instead of the person getting in trouble who actually streamed the video. Does that app work, and does it protect you?
I don't know.
Okay.
I honestly don't know the answer to that. But she was courageous to do it. So I don't think that racism is new. I think that we're seeing more of the police shootings because of the technology. But this has been going on. Somebody said, oh, Judge, it's so unfortunate. We're just seeing all of these police shootings all of a sudden. I'm like, no, honey. You know, we're just able to see them now in a way. I do think that we experienced a backlash from having a black president. I think that there was despicable behavior toward President Obama when he was as he's still in office for, I guess, another day, until tomorrow at noon. But the point is that I think that we are seeing more divide in this country. I think we saw that in a campaign that I've never seen before in this country in 2016. That troubles me. And to think that race relations is all fine in this country is a myth. It is a myth. We have a long way to go. And there were people who felt like, oh, in 2008 we have a black president, so all of our problems are over. That is not true. You saw the disrespect. You saw the way that he was treated. You saw the gridlock. And I do think that there is a backlash of having had a black president, and I think that's unfortunate.
I mean, there's still backlash because now with the inauguration, singers from Jennifer Holliday to now R&B singer Chrisette Michele, and then Steve Harvey and Kanye West, they're all getting backlash from just meeting with Trump or even seeing at the inauguration. Like, what do you think? I don't want to say it's like they're the representatives of the black community, but like, how do you?
Well, let me bottom line it for you. I wouldn't sing at the inauguration. I wouldn't.
But who pays the bills after it's all said and done? Because at the end of the day,
I wouldn't sing in an inauguration of a man who basically has said that Mexican immigrants are thieves and rapists, a vast majority. I wouldn't sing at an inauguration where a man has talked about Muslims being banned from being in this country. It is a broad brush of Muslims, and all Muslims are not terrorists. I would not sing at an inauguration of a man who disrespects women in the way that that video showed his respect for women. But that is who I am. I cannot speak for everybody else. That is who I am as a man.
But does the backlash deserve, I mean, does Steve Harvey deserve the backlash? Because, I mean, he just sat down and talked with the man. As reference to half the other people are singing, I mean, a conversation can't be bad. And do you feel like at least hear him out?
First of all, I love Steve Harvey. Let's be real clear. I love Steve Harvey. You know, Steve would call me today and ask me to do something, as he has in the past, and I would be right there. This is not about Steve Harvey. It is about the direction of the nation. And I just want to make sure that people are not used in a way that is counterproductive. That's my only concern. I don't have a beef with Steve. I did have a real concern about Martin Luther King meeting with Trump on his father's birthday. And if I said anything differently about it, I would be lying to you. But those are not the issues. The issue is we have a Sessions who has been nominated for Attorney General in this country, who was denied being a federal judge in the 90s because of his racist stand. And this is a person we're talking about as Attorney General now, a few decades later. I think that there are broader issues that we have to be incredibly concerned about in this nation. I do, and I'm concerned about that.
I'm definitely totally with you. I mean, but
I'm concerned about the composition of the Supreme Court.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? But in your situation, you've been a judge for many years. What do you think is more, like, the qualifications aren't as high as they used to be, being a judge or being a president?
Well, I just think that the office, the qualifications don't seem to be as high. You know, I don't know how you go from a President Obama to a Donald Trump. We have gone from a man who I believe is enormously competent with a great deal of class and dignity to a man who tweets and basically insults John Lewis, who has been a civil rights leader. I have an issue with that. John Lewis can defend himself. I'm worried about people in this country not having jobs, not having opportunities, and what's the health care is going to look like. You know, I mean, if you reform it, you take it back. What does that look like for people who wouldn't have health care otherwise? Those, for me, are the more serious issues.
And that's what I think that we should be worried about, too. It's been amazing talking to you. Last question, because she's about to get out of here and talk. Love for you. I just feel like I want to call you Mama Judge. I really want to call you Mama Judge for some reason.
Mama Judge. They do. They call me Mommy Judge, Auntie, all of that. Oh, yes.
And I know you talked on the Ed Lover show about being not being married, being single now. You're working on the show. You have September 19th, the Hatchet.
Yes, it launched already last fall.
Okay, so you have that,
yes.
The book, motivational speaking, you're
right.
touring, you're on the Philando Castro, the Philando case, Castillo case. If a man takes you out to dinner, who pays? Because in my case, I would be like, the person who makes more money pays. But then again, the old school case, you're talking about, the man pays. I really want to know because you have so much going on.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting because most men will not let me pay, but I think I should pay from time to time. I do. I don't have any problem with paying for dinner. You know, it's like I'm happy to pay for dinner. I am.
Well, what is the response they get when you take the check? Like, give me this check.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. I mean, it's very interesting. You know, men don't let me pay for dinner.
And they shouldn't. You still shouldn't pay for dinner. Okay, so I know you're about to get out of here, but dating life, courting, with the men now, it's hard in Atlanta, it's hard in the world, period. How are young men, because you mentor a lot of young men.
Yeah.
What are some of the advice you should give to them as well as the women about courting? Because I know you old school. I feel like
old school. Let me tell you, if she doesn't believe in your dream, she's got to go.
One.
If he doesn't believe in your dreams, he's got to go.
Bye.
Doesn't respect you, he's got to go, you know. And you can't expect for a man to respect you if you don't respect yourself. And you've got to have certain standards by which you are governing yourself. And I had this young brother say to me one time years ago, and I've never forgotten it, because, you know, I considered him a mentee, and he said, let me tell you, Judge, the way you find them is the way you treat them. Remember that. The way you find them is the way you treat them. So if they're all up in the club being loud and just, you know, acting crazy, or if it's a young woman who is, you know, got some class about herself and expects you to respect her, that's how you're going to respect them. And I said, but you should respect all women. He said, but you treat women the way you find them. And so women need to remember that if you want to be treated like royalty, you got to act like royalty. That's always been my thing. And have I lost that on some fine men? Of course I have. That's okay.
They can deserve you.
They can keep going,
Of
right?
course.
Exactly.
Because you're a woman of oh my God, prestige. I don't want to see you with anybody. I love you just the way you are. I just feel like your mama. You have your boys. I'm gonna just adopt her as my auntie. But anywho, September 19th is the show.
Yep.
September 19th. You have the law from national.
The Hatchett firm.
The Hatchett firm.
Based here in Atlanta. It's a national firm based here in Atlanta. God forbid you ever need, but I do catastrophic injury, wrongful death.
Wrongful death, yes. And what else? What else do you have coming up? That we should know about?
Oh, that's it. The new show, the law firm is my priority right now, and but I'll let you know.
And we will stick around for it, y'all. Thank y'all so much. I am your girl, Alex Rowe, and Judge Glenda Hatchett, Mama Judge Glenda Hatchett. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.